So it will create a transpiration pull, and because of the transpiration pull, it will withdraw more water from the beaker, okay, or suction force. Or transpiration also create a suction force, because when there is a loss of water from the leaves, definitely it will create more transpiration pull, which will help to withdraw more water. All right. Now the next thing that I would like to tell you here, that what is the need of introducing this air bubble? We have added this air bubble because this air bubble is going to tell us about the movement of the water. And also why we have taken this colorful water, because this colorful, by the help of this colorful water, the movement of the water will be easily visible. Now one thing that you need to notice is the photometer, it never measure the loss of transpiration. It never measure that how much water is lost in the process of transpiration. It only measures the amount of water taken up by the shoot or root, or amount of water that is being absorbed by the shoot. Alright, I just want to explain it again. See, I have already told you that rate of water uptake by the shoot, okay, it is always equal to loss of water during, almost equal to, not like absolutely equal, but it is almost equal to loss of water during transpiration. How? As I have told you right now, that only 2% of water is used in all the chemical activities, okay, and rest of the water is evaporated. Rest of the water, it is being evaporated in the process of transpiration. So that's why we say that rate of water uptake by the shoot is almost equal to the loss of water during transpiration. So this graduated capillary, when the water moves, this gives us the reading of rate of transpiration. This gives us the reading of that how much water is being taken up. It is being taken up by the shoot, or it is being absorbed by the shoot, which is equal to the loss of water during transpiration. So this graduated capillary, it helps us to measure the rate of transpiration in this device. Alright. Now we have few limitations and precautions that we need to take while we do this. Now what are those precautions and what are those limitations? Now first of all, I would like to tell you about the precautions. Now the first precaution that we need to take is that this device should be watertight. There should be no leakage of the water from anywhere, okay. If there will be leakage of water, then this whole experiment will be absolutely inaccurate, okay. So it should be watertight. And one more thing, whenever we want that this experiment should start again, so at that time we can open this stopcock. When we will open this stopcock, the water from the reservoir, it will come to this device again. Again we can start with this experiment. Alright. Now next thing, the first precaution that I have told you, that it should be watertight, absolutely watertight. Second precaution that we need to take is that this stem, this shoot, it should be cut obliquely. Why we have to cut it obliquely? Because when we cut the stem obliquely, it increases the surface area of the shoot. So when the surface area of the shoot will absorb, it will absorb more water. Alright, so that's why we have to cut this stem obliquely. Alright, so again I am going to repeat the two precautions. The first one, it should be made watertight. The second one, the shoot should be cut obliquely. Another thing, now what are the limitations that are there in this experiment? Like, limitation means that why we can say that this device is not like it is good to measure the rate of transpiration, but it is not so accurate. It is not so suitable. Why? What are the limitations that causes these reasons? So first limitation is that it has the first limitation is that this air bubble. It's very difficult to introduce the air bubble. We cannot introduce only one air bubble. While introducing an air bubble, maybe more than one air bubble can be introduced. Alright. Second is that this shoot, before our experiment ends, maybe this shoe can be dead. It might be dead at any time. Okay, so this is the second and the most important limitation over here. Now the third one is temperature variation. Very important. If outside there will be variation in the temperature, then also it can cause a variation in the experiment and our reading can be inaccurate. Okay, so the rate of transpiration, it will keep on changing by the variation which will be outside in that, by the variation of the temperature which will occur outside in the atmosphere. Okay, so these are the precautions and the limitations of Ganong's pottometer. Now next thing, I hope these two experiments are absolutely clear. Now next thing, if I will ask you, if I'll take a leaf and I will ask you that what do you think? Leaf has two surfaces, upper and the lower surfaces. What do you think, at which surface it has more stomata? At the lower surface or the upper surface? Of course, it has more stomata on the lower surface. Okay, especially in the dicot leaves. And if I'll say dicot leaves, then you can take the example of mango plant, orange plant or pea plant. Okay, they all have the dicot leaves. Now with the help of an experiment we can check this also. Supposing you can take a dicot leaf, take a mango leaf, okay, or any other leaf which is dicot. So you will take it and you will also take cobalt chloride paper. If you remember, we used cobalt chloride paper in the experiment of transpiration. And what did we check while taking this? We checked, actually we used it for the demonstration of transpiration. And I told you that this cobalt chloride paper, it turns pink when it comes in contact with the moisture. Okay, and if it will not come in contact with moisture, it will remain blue because its original color is blue. Okay, so if it will come in contact with moisture, it will turn pink, or otherwise if it will not come, it will remain blue. So this is the experiment that we will be doing. We will take a leaf and both sides of the leaves we will stick to cobalt chloride paper, dry cobalt chloride paper, both sides, with the help of pin or anything. We will just stick these cobalt chloride paper on both surfaces, on the upper side also, and on the lower side also, both surfaces. And we will keep that leaf like this only for 4 to 5 hours, and after 4 to 5 hours again we will observe the leaf. What we will observe, what are the results that we will be getting after 4 to 5 hours. The first thing we will see, the leaf or the paper which was on the upper side, upper surface of the leaf. Okay, what we have seen, that paper, okay, it has not turned into pink color, or if it will turn after a long time into pink color. What did I say? That on the upper side of the leaf, what we will observe, that the cobalt chloride paper, either it is in the same color, blue color only, or if it will turn into pink color, it will take a long time. Okay, but here on the lower surface of the leaf, what you are seeing, the cobalt chloride paper will definitely change into pink color, showing that on the lower surface of the leaf we have more stomata. Okay, on the lower surface of the leaf we have more stomata rather than the upper surface of the leaf. That's why there is a difference in both papers, in cobalt chloride paper. Since on the upper surface of the leaf we have less stomata, that's why either it will not turn, okay, into pink color, or it will take a lot of time to turn into pink color. And on the lower surface it will turn into pink color fastly. So this is experiment for the demonstration that we are saying that on the upper surface the stomatas are less, and on the lower surface stomatas are more. So that's all about this session. In the next session I will be talking about the factors that affect transpiration. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.